The defense concedes liability. They come to you and tell you they are responsible for the happening of your injuries. What happens next? Would you like to learn the answer? Come join me as I share this great information with you. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. It's a remarkable thing and does not happen very often. But in some instances, the defense will come to us and say, listen, we recognize our client did something wrong. Now let's talk about the damages and let's move forward. Well, what happens at that point? We no longer have to show and prove that the defense did something wrong. Why? Because they're admitting it. They're saying, okay, we recognize we did something wrong. Let's move on to damages. So now when the case goes to trial, the only key issue that a jury is going to have to evaluate is how much money to award to you as a result of the harms and losses that the defendant caused. Now, the defendant is the person that you have sued. Whether it's a medical malpractice case, it might be a doctor or a hospital. If it's a car accident case, it would be the person who caused the car accident. So the key question is, what happens next? You will go ultimately to have a trial on damages to determine how much money you will be awarded. In cases like these, jurors decide how much money should be in the verdict. And one of the key things that they are told that they must consider when evaluating the damages, how much money to award, are only two things. They are only to consider the harms and the losses you have suffered as a result of the defendant's conduct. And that may be the doctor's improper medical care, it may be a negligent or careless driver. Regardless of what it was that did ultimately cause your injury, the jury is ultimately told you can only consider two things when evaluating how much money to award, and that is the harms and the losses that the defendant caused. The jury is not to consider whether or not there's another alternative source of money for this injured victim. They are not to consider how their verdict will affect businesses or how people buy and sell things, or whether prices will go up or down as a result of their verdict. They are not to consider anything else except just two things. Consider the harms and the losses that you have suffered. So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you just to explain to you and give you a bit of an insight and an understanding into what happens in the litigation process, in the trial process, when the defense comes up and says, hey, we give up on the issue of liability, you're right, we did something wrong, now let's move on to damages. You know, I realize you're probably watching this because you have questions of your own. Well, if your matter happened here in New York and you do have legal questions, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. This is something I do every single day and I welcome your call. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's quick video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.